Hi, my name's Mike Carroll. I'm with the Reading Municipal Light Department here in Reading, Massachusetts. I've been with Reading Light for 29 years now, and I'm a senior technician.
And I'm Rich Pugliafico with RJ Pugliafico Electrical out of North Reading, Mass.
What we built here is a visual representation of a typical 100 amp electric service on the side of your house. We have a utility pole right here, a little piece we cut off, and it's showing the service drop, which is a triplex wire that we have running to your house. On your house, they'll have some kind of dead end that we can attach to. And from there, it connects to your house through a weatherhead and a service entrance cable. It travels through the meter box. And from the meter box, it goes to your service panel, which is located inside your house. And we've also added a water meter, and we've added a couple of ground rods, and we've added a water filtration system, and we also have a surge protection system. The electric company only owns the wire from the pole to the house and the meter that goes in the meter box. The boundary line, also known as the demarcation point, are the connectors. From the connectors back to the pole we own, and we own the meter. Everything else you see here is owned by you, the homeowner, and is your responsibility for keeping in proper maintenance of good electrical condition and secured to the house. Rich is going to talk about some of the proper grounding rules that apply to this service.
Yes, as Mike has explained, that this is a typical 100 amp service. You have a service entrance weatherhead, service entrance cable, meter socket, and electrical panel. Inside this meter socket, and again, we need to reiterate that this is not serviceable by anybody that's not qualified.
Correct.
Reading Light has a seal that they put here, and that's their tag that says that they're the only ones that can enter this meter socket. So I'm going to open it up and show you what the inside looks like. You have your power wires that come in and your neutral conductor, which is back to the utility grid. From this point, the meter plugs in, the electricity flows through and goes to your electric panel. Now, same thing, you have two conductors that go down to your main breaker, and you have your neutral. This also shows a ground, which is connected to the neutral with this lug. This ends up at a utility ground bar for other utilities, cable TV and telephone. They can bond to this because they're not allowed to go into this meter socket. Nobody that's not authorized can go in there. So we're required to provide this for them to connect to outside of the meter socket. So now we come into your house and you have your main breaker where this wire terminates. Under that, you would have individual branch circuit breakers that go to items in your house, lights, plugs, etc. This shows a whole house surge protector connected to this electrical panel via this circuit breaker. It's there for surge protection, meaning if there was an over amount of electricity going to your house, this is going to take the brunt of that to protect sensitive electronics that we all have today. This also shows the ground that leaves this panel. It's terminated with the neutral because it's a first point of disconnect. So that's where you connect your ground and your neutrals together. It goes to the water main. This shows the water main being grounded on the line side and the load side, which essentially is just jumping out this meter. And the reason for that is if the water company has to come in and replace, repair, or alter this meter, they're maintaining a good path to ground from your electrical system. Another electrical redundancy backup is your ground rods. These are installed under your meter socket, typically outside of your home. They're 8 feet in length, and we drive them into the ground. They need to be 6 feet apart, and we connect them with a piece of copper, like this shows, and these direct burial rated clamps, and that is connected to your meter socket. Most houses, some, not all, have whole house water filtration systems. They tend to be plastic. So by intercepting this copper pipe and installing a plastic water filtration system, you've actually taken away the ground that grounds your spigots, your faucets, and your water piping system in your house. So what is very important is that this is also jumped out. So we have a ground clamp on this side, and we have another ground clamp on this side. So if somebody was to come in and replace this or remove it, you're still maintaining your continuity of ground to your house.
Yep. And a couple problems that we see out there is, not to pick on the siding guys, but they come to your house, they side, and they leave all this floating off the house. Just want to emphasize again that here at Reading Light, and we service 4 towns in Massachusetts, Reading, Wilmington, North Reading, and Lynnfield, Mass, that we only own the meter and the service wires that are going from the pole to your house. So when this is floating off your house, you need to hire a licensed electrician to reattach this to your house, because this is serious stuff. You can't just go in here and reconnect this yourself. We'll come out to your house as a courtesy, and the linemen rubber up this service. Even sometimes when you're painting your house, they'll come out and rubber up this whole service in case their ladder slides into it, they're protected. But we see a lot of times there's not proper sealing, and rain gets in here, and the rain travels inside the cable, and you won't know it for years, but eventually it's going to corrode everything in here. Water gets in here, we see it all the time, and eventually it's going to cause some issues.
One thing that we try to recommend is at least every 5 years, have a licensed electrician come to your home and do an electrical systems check evaluation. And some of the things that we would be looking for in that is to make sure that your service entrance cable isn't dry rotted or cracked due to exposure to sun based on the age of it, because like Mike said, that's another way that water gets in and it gets into your system. And what happens is like Mike said, it travels down and it will start to rot away all these bus bars that the breakers plug into. And then you'll start to see flickering lights in your home. You could hear some sizzling in the breakers. So it's very important to pay attention to that. We check, the weather head to make sure it's intact, make sure there's proper duct seal here. All the components in here need to be tight and torqued to their proper level, and everything inside your electric panel. Your circuit breakers should be turned on and off at least every 5 years to make sure they work properly, and things of that nature. Check your grounds. Most importantly is your water ground. Some towns the water is very hard and these clamps will actually rot off, and now you'll have no connection. Older homes probably don't have ground rods, so it's something that can be added to any system as a backup to your water ground. If they're present, we would check those and make sure that they're connected properly, just like jumping out your water meter. All these connections need to be nice and clean and tight.
A hint for you that maybe something's wrong at your house, if your lights do get dim or they start getting bright, you've probably lost a good ground connection. Here in our system, you can start with the utility company. We come to your house for free, and the lineman will check for proper grounding. Because if you don't have proper grounding coming back to the system ground, and you have 5 amps on one leg and 4 amps on the other leg, you should have an amp coming back through your neutral. And if you have a bad ground, it's not getting back, so it's trying to come back another way, which is causing your lights to get bright and dim, and something's not right. The neutral's designed to balance that out. So start with the light department, and we will verify that you have good grounding at the pole and at the top of your house where we connect. And we'll also do a meter inspection and make sure that there's proper grounding. After that, we're going to recommend you call a licensed electrician, and there's some things that Rich will look at.
Right. We've been to many homes where inside this meter socket, this neutral connection is very rotted due to lack of maintenance on your electrical system, where water has infiltrated and caused this to start and rot and crack. And at that point, everything would just need to be replaced in the meter socket.
And as we said, you know, we'll repeat that you own it, so it's your responsibility, and we just own the meter, and we own the wires coming from the pole to the house. So you need a licensed electrician to replace this meter box, and you certainly want to catch it now sooner than later, because that water does ruin this, and now it mushrooms into even more expense for you. So we recommend that, you know, you have someone qualified to kind of take a look at what's going on down in your cellar or wherever your service panel is, and make sure you have proper grounding and everything's still tight and there's no corrosion. And you know, not many people have water filtration systems, but if you do, you know, you're interrupting your ground here with the plastic, as Rich pointed out. And we're not promoting any kind of surge protectors, but we did install one here that's a whole house surge protector. There's all, you can buy, you know, a lot of people just use the ones that for strips, and
Right.
Anything's better than nothing. Well, thank you for listening to our presentation. I'm Michael Carroll. I'm with the Reading Municipal Light Department. I've been there 29 years as a senior technician.
And I'm Rich Pugliafico with RJ Pugliafico Electrical in North Reading. Thank you.